One of the best reports on MyMedLeads is what we call the doctor's dashboard. The doctor's dashboard gives the doctor a bird's eye view of everything that's going on with his account as far as prospects, patients, marketing efforts, and rep performance. When you first click on doctor's dashboard, there are a couple of key areas that you have to pay attention to. The first section is called the total scheduled patients per month, and this shows you on a monthly basis how many patients were scheduled through MyMedLeads. The second section is the lead quantity report, and this report basically just shows you how many leads you're receiving from different sources. The sources could be your website, it could be something that's not web related, such as a magazine ad or a TV ad. Remember that your staff is asking all of your prospects where they heard about you. So through this section, you're going to be able to see where you're getting the most number of leads. The next section is what we call the rep performance indicator. And in the rep performance indicator, you get to see a list of all your reps that are answering calls, the number of calls that they've answered, the number that they've scheduled and their rate, and the time gap. The time gap is basically a report showing you how long it's taking them to call a lead from the moment that it was entered into the system. So if a lead comes from your website, if somebody goes to your website, fills out the form, and then the lead arrives in the system, if it's called 20 minutes later, then it would show 20 minutes on this time gap. Whenever you run this report, you can select a time range, or you can just leave it as a default, and it always defaults to the entire history since you first started using our software. In the patient satisfaction, you can click on the number and it'll show you every review that you've gotten back from a patient that has come to you in the last week. So you can actually look at what they said about you, and you can go a little deeper, and you can see how they rated you, and then you can see exactly what it was that they said. Finally, if you scroll to the bottom, you're going to see the lead source. And the lead source is a listing of every single source that you've added to the site that we're tracking. It'll show you how many leads were generated from that source, how many of those leads that were generated were not qualified, how many are still pending, and finally, how many you've scheduled to a consultation. So what this means is that from one page, you can see what kind of trend you're following, if you're moving in the right direction. You get to see how all of your reps are doing. You get to see which marketing efforts are working or which ones you should cut out. And you can also see how your staff and how you are doing in the eyes of patients.